What have we missed? Okay, we looks like we've seen a Witchclaw Talisman. Can't exactly see what was milled over on Alan's side. Could be an Outland Liberator. Can't exactly tell. Let's see if I can maybe find it on the list here. Interesting. He does have an Outland Liberator in the list, so that could be it. We do see the Wasteland coming over to hit the duel there. Okay. Looks like Michael's just got the Trop and a Swamp over on his side. He does have the Witchclaw Talisman. Once he goes to activate it, though, he will be giving it to Alan. So then it will be tapped on Alan's side, which then he can use as himself. So I don't imagine Michael will be using it until he knows for sure he can either be a very commanding board state or probably win. Might have been a DT, Demonic Tutor, over on Hennick's side. Is that possible? Let me check the list here. I don't see the Demonic Tutor. Interesting. Did Alan just play a Noble Hierarch and is that a questing beast? I would so love that to be a questing beast right now. We see Michael tapping for 2 for Lotus Petal. For 2 Lotus Petals, okay. So yeah, he is paying basically 1 mana for the Lotus Petals there, just because of the Thalia over on Alan's side. Alan just swinging the 2 and passing. All right, he's paying 2. Looks like he's floating 1. There's the ritual. Okay, he's got a dark ritual. Could that also that die could also represent Storm Count? He could be going for a Storm Count here instead, because the dark ritual would have cost 2 anyway. All right, he's sacking Lotus Petal, so he's got 4 mana currently in his pool. Will we see another? Yeah, there it is. I believe it's Cabal Ritual. He'll be paying 2 to get another 3. That one might also have Threshold, so he may also be getting more than the 3 itself. Okay, he's on Storm Count 3. We may see an activation of Witchclaw Talisman depending on how the rest of his hand turns out. Oh, he's got 3. 3 of the rituals in his hand. Okay, that's pretty good. Three Cabal Rituals and a Dark Ritual. Storm Count of 4. Now, keep in mind, the players are writing down the amount of mana floating on their piece of paper that is slightly off screen there, so we can't exactly tell how much he's got, but the players do keep track of them themselves. I imagine he's got 6, 9, like around 12 mana, give or take. I believe he does have the Threshold, so he might be getting more than that. He is activating the Witchclaw. So he's going to go search his library for a card, put into his hand, and Alan will be taking control of that Witchclaw Talisman. He did not have to reveal it. He might have accidentally, but that is A-okay. Alrighty, sorry about that, folks. It looks like Michael Hennick, don't know how much we've heard, Michael Hennick gets the round 1 win there. He ends up getting the Tendrils of Agony, Storm count 9, so he'll be dealing 2 damage, Storm, so it'll be copied 8 times, sorry, to have a total of 9 casts, which will be the exact 18 damage to get Alan for that game there, which we'll see game 1 go to Michael. Going over to sideboards, what can Alan bring in to help him fight the Storm deck here? Well, to start us off, we've got 2 Thoughtseize in the side. We can see him bring that in just so we can see him hit Michael's hand, hopefully slow him down a bit. But the really spicy tech I'm seeing here is he's got an opposition agent. And for those of you that don't know, opposition agents, 2 generic and a black, has flash. You can flash it in, and if an opponent would search a library instead, you search their library and exile a card. So maybe again, if we go to see him cast for Michael cast an Infernal Tutor, sorry, or if he goes for that Wishclaw Talisman again, we can see Alan potentially holding up mana to flash in the opposition agent so that he just essentially steals the tutor from him. What else can we see? We can 100% see the Deafening Silences come in. It's a great card to play against Storm. Each opponent can't cast more than 1 spell. Michael's going to have to find an answer to get rid of that. Other than that, we've also got Surgical Extraction, which also helps if he can surgical something in the graveyard, like maybe one of the rituals, so that way he doesn't continue to pop off. And chain rituals, get more mana, get the higher Storm count. That's one thing for sure. We may also see an Endurance come in on Alan's side, so we can shuffle the graveyard back to the bottom of the library. That way, Michael cannot use his graveyard as well. Over on Michael's side, though, we've got some good cards here. We've got another copy of Tendrils in case. I don't know necessarily if he will be needing to bring that in. More so, I see a Veil of Summer, which is good because we know that Alan's got some black mana cards, so you can use Veil of Summer to protect him from, like I was saying, like a Surgical or whatever the case may be, whether it's a Thoughtseize, for example. We do see Flusterstorms as well. It'll be great in this matchup because if he does happen to storm off a little bit and then Alan finds input or a time to interject correctly, you could say, Michael could go for a Flusterstorm, storm count be 2, 3, 4, and then Alan's got to figure out another way to go around that. We also see Dress Down. It could come in handy, not 100% sure on that one, but I do like seeing Pernicious Deed, just because we saw Alan had a couple creatures. Well, they weren't very, very threatening creatures, but he did have a couple 1-drops or 2-drops, so he could Pernicious Deed to get those out of the way as well, just because Michael didn't necessarily have anything on his side to worry about. So players have resolved their sideboarding. They are now drawing their first 7s of Game 2. Alan will be deciding whether he would be keeping or mulliganing first, and then it will go over to Michael to decide. Looks like they're both keeping. We start out with Alan going Windswept Heath fetching. And then I assume he'll probably have some sort of turn 1 Hierarch or something along those lines. So he's got to be pretty quick out the gates, unless he wants to slow down Michael. Either way, it would be good. We do see the turn 1 Thoughtseize. So this is what we're saying. We can see the Thoughtseize to disrupt Michael's hand. Michael does have, 3 Lion's Eye Diamonds. So he could... that's a pretty good hand, because he can just play all 3 of those. And then once he's dumped his hand out, he can just sack them for 3 mana each, because he'll have to discard his hand in addition. But I cannot tell. It looks like there's an Abrupt Decay on the top side as well, and then underneath above the Abrupt Decay, underneath the Lion's Eye. Can't exactly tell. Might be a Brainstorm. Looks like some sort of blue card. Could be Preordain or Ponder as well. But if I was Alan here, it's a bit of a tough choice because, there's like so much redundancy here. Okay, Michael has got the turn 1 Thoughtseize as well. What do we go down over on Alan's side? Looks like we got a Noble Hierarch. There looks like to be a Green Suns, a Wasteland, Windswept Heath, and then 1 card in between the 2, which I cannot exactly make out here. Keep in mind, players' life totals aren't going to be exactly correct. We do have the life counter there, but players usually will just write down their life totals amongst each other on the notepads you see on the bottoms of the screen. So sometimes the life pad, like the tablet there, isn't always used, but they are being kept track of on the notepads there. Looks like it is a collector oof, which will be oof for Alan over there, because that was supposed to help him stop the artifacts. All right, Alan, what can we draw off the top here? Goes for the draw. Oh, okay. Michael's updating the life on that side. That's good. Another Thoughtseize. Okay, looks like he's got the Thoughtseize. He's got the Lion's Eye, looks like a Misty and a Brainstorm, I believe. We see the Brainstorm get discarded. Michael is him, says Tony. Is Michael him? I don't know. We might be able to find out here. Michael might be able to get the win here, but Alan's not quite out of it yet. We appreciate Michael for updating the life total. Noble Hierarch over on Alan's side. He still has 1 mana, so he could potentially... Do we see a Green Suns for 0 maybe? No, yes. He does have it tapped, so he might be using it. Oh, my apologies. We did see the Thoughtseize, so that would be the 2 mana. Yep. Yeah. Technical difficulties there with the deck. No worries. Happens. And he'll be shipping the turn. Michael starting off with a Misty Rainforest. Fetching. He'll just find a basic island. Now, did Michael draw some sort of relevancy to continue the storm count now? I believe... What do we got there? Is there Ponder, maybe? Looking at the top 2, so it could be Preordained or Ponder. The one last card in his hand we do know is a Lion's Eye Diamond. It is a best of 3. That's correct, Tony. So the player that wins, they do a die roll to see who's going first, or any other means that they would both agree on. After that, the player that wins the first game gives the option to the opponent to, if they want to play first the next. So that's why we saw Alan play first this time. We see another Thoughtseize from Michael, which he then gets Alan to discard the Green Suns. Looks like Alan draws another Noble Hierarch off the top. Okay. We've got, and then Alan's got to go to the beats. I guess that's how he's going to be winning here. He's got the Exalted too. Michael's playing off the top. He's got a bunch of mana, nothing really to do with it, unfortunately. Got Alan swinging in again. Take another 2, please, Michael. Okay, Alan's tapping 3. What's he got? Oh, he's got a Green Suns. Okay, he's got Green Suns for 2. Could we see the Thalia, maybe? Or does it not really matter in this matchup? He has no mana. It depends on what you're talking about, because Michael's got all the mana, but Alan, yeah, you could say, as of right now, he's got no mana, because he just used it all on Green Suns, but he does have no mana. It looks like could potentially be the Outland Liberator. I believe what's throwing me off is it could be the alternate art frame from the Innistrad set, which is why I believe it may or may not be the Outland Liberator. He just ships the turn to Michael. Michael draws. Contemplates, looks as a life total. It is a land. Okay, Michael's got all the mana. Unfortunately, nothing to do with. Which then he ships the turn and it becomes nighttime. So that Outland Liberator will flip. He'll go to combat. Yeah, he's going for the beat plans here. Swing with the Liberator. 2 Exalted triggers. So Michael is nearing single digits here. Looks like it might be a Fiend Artisan. I like that card. We go over to Michael's turn. Contemplating. Might have one out. Depends on what he drew here. He could also be thinking, if the card in his hand was a dead draw, is he just dead next turn? Should we go to game 3? Or do you think he has a chance to live and then maybe he can find another draw to hopefully find a way out? I believe it looks like to be a brainstorm. Okay, sacking both of his Lion's Eyes. He's got 6 mana. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Looks like to be a Petal, a Ritual, and some other third card. That could be a Witchclaw. Can't exactly tell. I believe it might have been the Witchclaw we saw from last game where it was an extended art. Keep in mind, he does have mana floating in the mana pool, so he could go for the Witchclaw and crack it if he thinks he can find a way out this turn, just because otherwise he does have the mana floating that will leave the mana pool once he switches phases. He chooses to keep the third card that we aren't 100% sure about, because we saw the Petal and the I believe it was one of the rituals, Cabal Ritual, I believe, the back on the top. He is going to, it looks like it is a Witchclaw Talisman, so we do see the Witchclaw come in. And yeah, we're going to see him use it and activate it right away. So he will be searching for a card to put in his hand and passing the Witchclaw over to Alan. Looks like Michael is going to be searching. What can we see he'd be searching for? He does have 2 Storm Count. He could try to just Tendril to, keep alive a little bit. Might not help him too much there. We did see an Empty the Warrens in the side. He could have brought that in. Maybe he wants to, Storm Count for 3 Empty Warrens, make some Goblins for some tokens there to help him for blocks, stall some time out. But other than the 2 cards there, I don't know if there's any other necessarily Storm cards that matter for him in this turn at the moment. He finds a mystery card, which he'll also just shortcut and fetch as well. Find the basic. He will be using, I believe it's Tropical Island for mana, and we see, and there, I think that is the Pernicious Deed we were talking about, that he will be using to hopefully get rid of Alan's board. Alan does seem to have, I believe it's 1, oh, he's going for the 2 drops. Yeah, so get rid of that Witchclaw to not let Alan have it, and also getting rid of the Outland Liberator. Oh, might be 2 or less, actually. That might have just completely wiped the board, and now Michael has a chance of not just dying next turn to combat. Alrighty, I believe we see a Knight of Autumn over on Alan's side. And I think they're both playing from, oh, we just see the Abrupt Decay off there. It looks like they're just playing off the top deck. There's a Thalia over on Alan's side, then he passes. Michael will just be drawing. I believe he drew a Ritual there. Passes the turn. Alan flips the Ignoble Hierarch, it could be. Swings for Thalia. Passes. Michael also playing off the top. What's he got for a turn here? We know he has a Ritual. Looks like, oh, he has 2 Rituals. Okay. This might not be the worst for him here. If that third card can help him loot or draw or anything, this might not be bad at all. Oh. And we just scoop it up there. Okay. It looks like Michael did not have anything there, which is unfortunate. We did see him. His hand was pretty good, except for the fact that Alan had the Thought Seize to slow him down. Because the 3 LEDs, that is definitely a ton of mana that Storm could use. unfortunately, nothing to do with the Storm, unfortunately, this game. Going to game 3. Will we see any sideboard changes here, really? Could, maybe not. Looks like Alan might be finding a cut or two just because he's no longer on the play and he will be on the draw. Looks like a card coming in from Alan's side. Michael still shuffling. All right, what are we hoping to see from both players here? Michael probably hoping to get some fast mana again on turn 1. There, hopefully get some mana rocks to start it up, whether it's the Lotus Petals or Lion's Eye Diamonds, to be getting as much mana as possible to, storm off before Alan has enough disruption like the Thoughtseize and the Thalias. Over on Alan's side, we probably want some really early interaction, which could be kind of hard. You might have to go for a surgical at the start, depending on if Michael does actually end up trying to go for the turn 1 here. But again, there's a chance that he just has to wait for turn 2 or 3 until he has enough mana to for sure thinks he can do it, rather than risk it and then get blown out of the water by a surgical when he goes to exile something from the Alan decides to exile something from Michael's graveyard. Alan could come up with reverse sweep. Yeah, he was down game 1. He's up now to 1-1 each. Going to game 3. Alan on the draw. Again, Alan's probably hoping to get a turn 1, deafening silence. Probably, what are we looking for? I guess maybe a Hierarch for turn 2 Thalia plus something. We could go for Green Suns as well on turn 2. He also does have Esper Sentinel, which is not the worst turn 1. Oh, and we see Michael ship the hand. He will not be keeping his first 7. I believe Michael will be keeping. Thank you, Michael, for changing the life totals back to 20. Alan ready to present his deck. Hopefully draw a better 7 than the first. What can we see here? Finds a land. I can't see much. Could be a Green Suns in his hand as well. Looks like maybe a Liberator. Looks to be keeping. All right, players are ready to go into round 3. Excuse me. We see the Pluto Delta fetch into a swamp for Michael. And I believe he's just saying that he's going to be casting Thoughtseize. So Alan will be revealing. Looks like a Green Suns, Endurance, could be a Knight of Autumn, and a Liberator, 2 lands. Now, depending on Michael's hand, he might want to get rid of that Endurance, or he might want to get rid of that Liberator. Both have disruption in their own ways. One will go for the graveyard, one will go for the artifacts and enchantments on the battlefield, which, again, depends on what Michael's got. If he's got a whole bunch of artifacts, he probably wants to get rid of the Liberator. If he's trying to go for like a Past in Flames graveyard combo storm there, then yeah, he'll have to get that Endurance out. Michael just taking note of what Alan's got in his hand. What do we see him taking? We see him taking the Green Suns. And then we see the Lotus Petal. Okay. Now, I'm not a huge a legacy head. I do enjoy some legacy here and there. It's not my favorite. It's not my my least favorite. I'm not too sure exactly why he would go for the Green Suns there. Maybe he could be, it could be like a Green Suns for 0, find a Dryad Arbor. Maybe he didn't want to turn to 2 or 3 creature that he could ramp into over on Alan's side. But we do see Alan, looks like just drop a Hierarch and then pass over to Michael. You can see that happening as well. Yes, me too, Tony. I agree. Michael in the tank, starting with a Thoughtseize before he places land there. Alan, what you got this time? Did you draw anything different? Don't know. Nope, same cards. Looks like the Hierarch was the draw. Apologies. And this time he takes a Liberator. Yeah, so this time he wants his Lotus Petal to stick around until he knows he's going to combo off. There's the land for turn. And he just ships the turn over. Alan going for a draw. Plays the land. He's got 3 mana open to him. He could technically play Endurance, but no reason to play it now unless, he feels like it, I guess. Probably just see it pass the turn over. We do. Michael's untapping. What have we got for turn? Couldn't quite see. Looked like maybe a petal or a land. Okay, we got a tropical island there. There is a petal, yeah. So there's another petal. So Michael's got a lot of mana. He's got 5 mana in his disposal right now. So he does have, if he does have a couple rituals. Oh, and here we go. We see the Endurance in response to the petal there. Alan's like, you know what? You have a lot of mana. I don't want to risk anything happening in the moment with your graveyard. So I'm just gonna flash in this blocker. Oh, my apologies. Oh, okay, it looks like he just went to end step, flash it in for beats. Okay. Well, I do apologize. We don't currently have audio in the stream room. The stream room has been under some renovations, which the lighting looks fantastic. Well done, Josh and Nerds Cafe. So yeah, it was Alan just slamming down that Endurance on end step. He's going for the beats. He's got a Guy's Cradle for turn. He's flashing in a Collector Oof. Now this is a big oof. Michael's going to respond now before he can't crack it. He's going for an Ad Nauseam. I love this card. One of my most favorite cards. He's going to reveal the top card of his library. He's going to lose life equal to the CMC. He can repeat this process as many times as he has life, essentially, or until he wants to stop. So we see 2 Brainstorms. I believe one might have been the Past in Flames. We've got a Dress Down as well. So I believe it's 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be around 5 life. Okay. Now, again, the life totals aren't 100% accurate just because the players are 100% used to writing down their life totals on the paper. Keeps going. Okay, we get a couple lands. We've got a ritual. Okay, that's what Michael wants to be seeing. Now his life total is getting low. Now he has to think if he continues to go to hopefully find another piece to continue this combo train. Is he gonna get enough to get there, or will he end up, dying in the crackback because he couldn't happen to find what he needs? He will be leaving it there. He's just going to be playing with his hand reveal to make things easier, it looks like, for Alan. Which, players do appreciate because you technically don't have to, after the information's been revealed, once the opponent feels it's been sufficient amount of time, they can easily just pick up their hand. So you could see Alan just writing the cards down. But he does end up just generously leaving it open. Alan does go for the crack for the land, the Horizon land, to find a draw. He will then go to combat and pass. Michael with the draw. What's he gonna do? He's got, looks like he's got a couple Brainstorms. He's got a ritual. He has the Fast in Flames. Does he have anything else? What's that mystery card he drew? There's the land. Tapping the Volk. There's the Brainstorm. Looks like we've got, might have been a Cabal ritual. Or sorry, a Dark ritual with the white border there, I believe. Looks like Alan might be now writing the cards. Yeah, Michael be gonna be picking up his hand now. So Alan, he's got a ton of cards in hand. So Alan is just writing down what was a revealed information. Okay, we see Michael keeping track of Storm. This might be the turn where he tries to storm off. All right, there's the Dark Ritual, Storm count 2. Now, he did have the Pass in Flames in hand, so he could also play the Pass in Flames to hopefully replay the Dark Ritual and Brainstorm. But it's going to be tough because he only has the two colored mana that was not black in his disposal. Excuse me. I believe that it was a preordained. Storm count 3. I believe Hennig is playing Storm Aziri. Yeah, he's got the good old Tendrils game plan as his win con, as we saw in game 1. Actually, that's how he got there. It's currently Storm count 3. He does have some black mana floating from the ritual. Follow with another ritual, Storm count 4. Yep. Welcome, Aziri. I believe it does say you're a first-time chatter. You should definitely drop that follow. And if you have Twitch Prime, Nerds Cafe would appreciate it. Fast and Flame. Okay, Storm count 5. He's going for it. Dark Ritual, Storm count 6. Oh, thank you very much. Subscribe with Prime. Hey, there you go. Awesome. Enjoy your new Nerds Cafe emotes. And we appreciate the generosity. Boros fist bump to you. Look at that. Storm count 1. Hey, that's relevant. Look, we got a Cabal Ritual Storm count 7 now, actually. The what emote is one of my favorites. Personally, I love this one with Jared saying hi. Jared looking like Sid the Sloth here. Thank you, shout out to Jared, another employee of Nerds Cafe. Michael in the tank. He is only in floating mana currently. He does not have the lands. He's going for the Witch Claw. Okay. Here's the Witch Claw. I believe we're probably going to see him finding the Tendrils of Agony. Apologies. Tendrils of Agony, Storm count 8, get 9 total, drain him. Yeah, that might be the case here. If the life totals are accurate, which again they may or may not be, just because players keep track on the paper, sometimes forget to update on the life pad for us. You will need one more One more storm count. Sorry, I just completely forgot to finish that sentence. Now, depending on how much mana he's got, he might not have enough to tutor and then also tendrils. Because I believe he did have a Thoughtseize in his hand. So if he was worried about the storm count, he could always just Thoughtseize to get that storm count up one more higher to then go and search. We almost saw him crack, or not crack. Sorry, take one. Oh yes, actually you're right. Thank you very much. Yeah, he just did the exact same thing. There is a collect roof that we were talking. Yeah. He has tendrils in his hand. Thank you. You got better eyes than I do. Atten, please. He just has to ship the turn. I believe he might have also forgotten about the oof there, because we did see him tap it, which does end up hurting a lot, because he had the storm count of 8 there. It looks like he was ready to go. He probably would have tutored for another ritual if the case was he did have the tendrils in hand. I believe he still has he does have a dress down. Okay, he does have a dress down in his hand, so he might have to work around that this time around. Over on Alan's side, we just see him untapping, drawing. What's he got in his hand? Oh, okay, just going to combat. Michael is getting dangerously low. Our player's at 38-1 now. Then, that's a good question. I don't unfortunately have audio for the room, so I can't even listen in to see what they're even talking about there, or what the exact count of stuff are. Combat and passes. He plays the higher equipment. Michael just double checking sideboard. Okay, Michael tapping his Trop. Blue, I assume. He's going for, it looks like a Brainstorm. Drawing 1, drawing 2, and 3. 1 looked like to be a land. 2 of them might actually have been both Ponders. There's the land for turn. He does not like the 2 cards that he put back, or he does not need them at the moment. Great call to keep that fetch in hand. Looks like an Underground Sea being found with the Misty. 4 mana at Michael's disposal, plus or minus a couple fast mana in his hand. Tapping for 1. What's that? 3 Ponders in his hand. Okay. Let's see. On top, looks like a Thoughtseize, land, and Lion's Eye. Doesn't look like to be a Bloodstained Mire. He rearranges, leaves on top. Goes to draw the Lion's Eye. Yep, plays it. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to crack it unless he gets rid of the oof there, but he does have it on board. All right, Alan. Untaps. What do we got for turn? So a tough position Alan's been put in. He's just been going on the beats, trying to slow down Michael with, the oofs, the Thalias. You're just going for the combat game at this point. Tap sideways, and do we see him casting the spell? Alright, there's 3. And I believe that is a Knight of Autumn. Ooh, slams in a dress down. Okay, so now Michael has got the opportunity to use his artifacts here, just because Oof has lost the abilities until the dress down leaves. He's going to be consulting his graveyard, it looks like, or at least spreading it to make it a little bit easier to decipher what's in there. He does have a Witch Claw that he can activate, and an LED for 3 extra mana. And if one Tendrils of Agony is in the bin, he does have a second one he could have sideboarded in. Aside from that, what could he be going for? I mean, unless he put the Empty the Warrens in. And as funny as it would be, he could go for... I don't think it will be... This is not the most optimal plan. This is what I want to see, though, from my perspective. I want to see a Peer into the Abyss targeting Alan, and then Alan just dies that way. That would be funny. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to be happening, but I think for myself in stream, we would love to see that. Looks like he does still have his one Ponder in his hand and potentially a Thoughtseize. I do apologize. All these like new arts and old borders and all this fancy stuff, it kind of throws me off a bit. Especially with now today's the amount of variations of cards. It does not make it any easier for casting. So I appreciate the patience and the assistance. Tapping 1. I believe it is a Thoughtseize he might be going for. Oh no, he's just going to go for the activation. Alan trying to remind him about the youth. Michael correctly reminding him that there's still a dress down in play that was flashing an end step, so the creatures do not have abilities at the moment. So he is able to crack that Witch Claw. Finding a ritual. Okay, it looks like he's trying to go for it. Oh, he's flashing in the endurance. Players are scooping it up. Interesting. I believe... Can't say for certain. I believe that one happened to be going to Alan because he showed the endurance. Can't exactly tell. Give me 1 second, see if I can reach the players. My apologies. There was a Past in Flames in the graveyard. So Michael Hennick basically just shows him, hey, look, there's a Past in Flames in the graveyard. I've got the ritual in my hand. Alan's like, yeah, no, the only thing I've got is an endurance, but that wasn't enough. It looks like Michael Hennick does get there in 3.